The Kate in Between by Claire Swinarski. Chapter 1. Every story has a villain, and the one in this story is me. I need to tell you that right off the bat. Look, all tales need a bad guy. In some books, it's obvious. In Peter Rabbit, you've got Mr. McGregor chasing the poor bunny through his garden with a pitchfork. Harry Potter has Voldemort, Holes has the warden. But sometimes the villain is a little harder to see. Maybe it's a tornado, a person's own self-doubt, or a friend who isn't who you thought they were. Villains don't always walk around with signs that say evil hanging from their necks, snatching up hopes and dreams. In this story, the one you're sitting down to read, I am the bad guy. Okay? Just know that now. This is not a happy-go-lucky fairy tale where a beautiful princess gets rescued by a handsome prince and they ride off into the sunset. This is a story of good versus evil, of expectations versus reality, of cell phones versus your own two eyes. If you feel like I've already gave away the ending, don't be upset. Surprises are great, except for when they're not. I once swore to Haddie Marks on a jar of fireflies that we would be best friends until the end of time, and I meant it. Haddie's parents owned the Starfish Center, the pool club on the east side of Madison. Since it belonged to Haddie's family, we got to go for free. We spent almost every summer afternoon there, from when we were in first grade and her mom made us wear life jackets, all the way up until the summer before 7th grade, when we mostly just dangle our feet in and watch Brett and Nico do cannonballs, splashing Taylor Tobit and all her friends. The air always smelled like coconut sunscreen and chlorine, and we'd split boxes of Sour Patch Kids, talking about how the next school year was going to change things. That summer, the summer between grades 6th and 7th, things had already started to shift. The air seemed to crackle with change. We'd see a commercial for back-to-school clothes and notice our sunburns starting to fade. Sometimes we felt so grown up, like when Haddie's mom let us have sleepovers in the rec room at the Starfish Center, which was right next door to Haddie's house. But other times, we felt like little kids. When Taylor and her friends put little stickers on their stomachs while they tanned, creating pale hearts to show off to each other, while Haddie and I ate hot dogs with extra ketchup, we felt tiny. On the last Saturday night before school began, Haddie and I watched lightning bugs light her backyard on fire, twinkling and winking at us as the sun went down. Our hair was still wet from the post-pool showers, and we were starting to shiver in our cut-off shorts and giant sweatshirts. We couldn't help but take a mason jar from her mom's gardening shed to capture as many fireflies as possible, poking holes in the top with a pair of scissors. We were way too old for that, and I felt it that summer. The feeling of being too old. But something about it felt right, taking those little sparks of light and holding on to them for as long as possible. We brought our jar into the rec room. Almost as soon as we got our sleeping bags set up, fanned out in front of the old crappy TV, it started to rain. First a little trickle, pitter-pattering on the windows, and then, kaboom! Bursts of thunder and lightning, so bright it illuminated our faces. What if 7th grade is totally different? What if we don't have any classes together? Asked Haddie. We'll have lunch, I said. 7th graders had their own lunch period. Same went for 8th graders. But what about Spanish? I'll fail. You know I see those verb endings and I have a mental meltdown. It was true. Then we'll do homework together at night over the phone, I laughed. But anything could happen. What if... Haddie, stop. It's still summer. Not for long, she said. And what if everything changes? Haddie had started to cling tighter and tighter to our friendship, as if she felt like I had one foot out the door. I didn't then. At least, I don't think so. Maybe I did. Maybe something about seeing Taylor Tobit French braid her hair and laugh at the boys made me wonder what else was out there besides endless summer afternoons eating Sour Patch Kids with Haddie. But she was my best friend, Haddie, through thick and thin. If she needed promises, I would make them. I grabbed our mason jar of fireflies, putting a hand over the top. I swear on this jar of bugs, of these majestic creatures of light, thank you very much. I swear on this jar and all that is summertime, Haddie Alta Marks will be my best friend for all eternity. Stop. You know I hate my middle name. May no powers of East Middle School separate us, and may our schedules be identical. If any forces dare to come between us, may they be cast to the bottom of Lake Mendota. And let us get straight A's and meet new boys on the first day of school who fall madly in love with us. And may Taylor Tobit and Brett Browning be cursed with the Black Plague. Ameneth. I gave the jar a shake, jolting a few bugs awake. Kaboom! We both shrieked as another burst of thunder hit, jolting off the rec room power and leaving us in pitch-black darkness. We ran back to Haddie's house in the rain, the storm soaking our pajamas, laughing so hard we could barely breathe. We made a huge bowl of popcorn with an entire stick of butter melted on top once the power had turned back on, and watched a black and white Audrey Hepburn movie. Haddie fell asleep first, like always, and I suddenly started to feel bad about those stupid fireflies. We'd forgotten all about them. They didn't belong being locked up in a jar, scared and stuck. We could escape from the rec room, but they couldn't escape from their little prison. When the movie was over and it had finally stopped raining, I took the jar outside. I turned it upside down and shook it, letting the bugs fall to the ground. They stayed there for a minute, all dizzy, before finally flying away.